Hello everyone, welcome to Manifest IAS, and we'll be looking into this year's Civil Services Examination Preliminary CSAT paper. So this paper is a second paper of Civil Services Preliminary Examination, and this paper includes 4 different areas, that is quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, data interpretation, and reading comprehension. And this question paper or this particular paper has been made qualifying since 2015. Like, we have to take only 33% of the marks that are allotted for this particular paper. So out of 200, if one gets 66 marks, so that person will be qualified, and only depending upon the merit of the first paper, the mains call will come to that person. So since 2015, this particular paper has become like a hot ghee. Neither you can swallow this, neither you can swallow this nor you can spit this, because it has been made qualifying. People think that 66 marks are very much scoreable, so they do certain mistakes of ignoring this paper or neglecting this paper or gambling with this paper. So that is very wrong on the part of the aspirants. And when we hear that a person who is scoring very well in the first paper, maybe 120 plus, that person is scoring less than 66 in the second paper. When we hear such things, it becomes very disheartening. And we come across many such things or many such students who are failing in the second paper, because it is purely a case study of negligence or ignorance. And even in mains examination, we have seen the people who are scoring very well or who have done very well in the 7 counting papers, that is GS 4 papers, optional 2 papers and essay paper, and neglecting or scoring very least in the compulsory papers like paper of Indian language and paper of English. So throughout the year, a person will be studying GS. 80% of the time, that person will be studying GS. Another 20%, that person will be studying for optional paper. But when it comes to the compulsory papers like CSAT in preliminary examination and the language compulsory papers in mains examination, people do neglect and they pay the price. Most of the people who are clearing mains, around 10 to 12,000 people who are writing the mains, among them 1,500 to 2,000 people will get out in the compulsory paper. Just like that, in the prelims paper also, many important or many good students who are scoring more than the cutoff marks in the first paper, nearly 5 to 10,000 of them will get out in the prelims paper. So that is very disheartening to know. So when it comes to prelims paper or the CSAT paper 2020, we have seen many things. There were many surprise elements. There were many unconventional things. There were many things which would make the aspirants very uncomfortable in the exam hall. So those things we'll be discussing. And first of all, before discussing the lacunae in the preparation or the learnings from this particular paper, we'll be discussing about the questions distribution, like from which area how many questions had come. As I told earlier, there are 4 important areas in this particular paper: quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, data interpretation, and reading comprehension. When it comes to the distribution of the paper or distribution of the questions, you can see there is a huge chunk with respect to quantitative aptitude. Quantitative aptitude, that is marked in blue, so that has nearly more than 50%. There were 44 questions which had come from this particular area. 44 questions. Usually, generally, there used to be around 30 questions from this area. 30 questions. If you look at the question papers from 2011 to 2020 10 years question papers, you can see around 30 questions from quantitative aptitude. So there is a sudden jump in the number of questions from quantitative aptitude. And most of the people used to rely upon the logical reasoning part. Logical reasoning part used to be very like easy for many of the students. They used to rely upon that. And we used to see around 15 to 20 questions coming in the logical reasoning part. But this year, suddenly, they were reduced to only 10. And people were finding the logical reasoning questions in the question paper, but they were unable to trace them because there were less number of questions. Only 10 questions were there. And as far as data interpretation is concerned, data interpretation question, usually there used to be around 3 to 4 questions. They used to give one particular chart or table or graph, and they used to ask 3 to 4 questions. But this year, there was only one question that was associated with data interpretation. And when it comes to reading comprehension, generally we see 30 to 35 questions in reading comprehension. To be very precise, around 32 questions we get in reading comprehension. But this year, there were only 25 questions. 25 questions that were asked in the reading comprehension. So if you look at the distribution, 44 questions from quantitative aptitude, then 10 questions from reasoning, then 1 question from data interpretation, and finally 25 questions from reading comprehension. So this is the distribution that we had seen. And there is a skewedness in the number of questions of the quantitative aptitude. Generally, we used to see around 32 questions. This year, 44 questions. So at the very outlook, many people will feel that they are getting out in this paper because there is a disproportionate allocation of questions in the area of quantitative aptitude. So this is what is the general inference or the prima facie what they get in the examination hall. Coming to other aspects of this examination, there were many surprises in the paper. Surprises in the sense like they were breaking the trend of the previous 10 years. That is, very important thing is 27 questions have come from the number system. When you take quantitative aptitude, out of 32 questions, the basic numeracy questions or the number system questions used to be around 5 to 8 at the max. And other questions used to be on the applied areas, right from the ratio and proportion, percentages, averages, mixture and allegations, time, speed, distance, time and work, permutation, combination, then problems on trains and boats, then age. Many applied areas are there. From there, the many questions used to come. But this year, 27 questions from number system. You see a question, you are seeing a question with numbers. Number system, especially in the basic operation of numbers, squares, cubes, basic arithmetic operations, then the decimal values, then the fraction operations. So like that, we have seen 27 different questions, and that is very much disturbing at the prima facie for the people who are not very good at this particular part. This number system, trust me, this is from the below 10th level. Whatever we have studied up to 10th standard, only from those areas these have been picked up. In our preparation or during our schooling, we might have solved thousands of questions from this area, but we are unable to do in the examination because of sheer negligence or ignorance, what we call. Then other surprising elements were 6 quantitative aptitude questions. Though quantitative aptitude questions, mostly the number system questions, they were asked in the form of data sufficiency. Data sufficiency, they will give 2 statements and they will ask whether one statement was enough to conclude, 2 statements, both the statements were enough to conclude, only second statement is enough, or neither of them were sufficient, like that. Like it is just to make the aspirant unstable because they have not seen such questions in basic numeracy with respect to data sufficiency. Data sufficiency, basically it is part of logical reasoning, but they are getting the data sufficiency in the quantitative aptitude also. So that will be very much disturbing for the students in the examination hall. So these 6 questions, though you are right in your concepts, but it is very difficult to arrive at the solution at the end in these 6 questions if you have not practiced them very well. And only 8 questions were from applied areas. Whatever I have told right now, mixture and allegations, then time and work, time, speed and distance, permutation combination, probability, then problems on trains, boards and age. So usually there used to be around 20 questions from those areas, but this year only 8 questions. So whatever that you have prepared also, that was not enough or that was not asked properly in the examination because there is a disproportion. So this disproportion is one of the hallmark of UPSC. Maybe it is in paper 1 or paper 2. They will take one particular area and they will ask many number of questions from that particular area. So this year, the basic numeracy or the number system has taken that chunk. In the year 2011-12, you must have seen the syllogisms. Syllogisms, there were around 12 questions from syllogisms. That area was very new for the aspirants then. So 12 questions had come. So like this, there will be a skewedness in the proportion that UPSC is applying to different areas. Then other surprise elements were the unconventional way of asking the question. So maybe it is with respect to data sufficiency or the straightness or the conventional way of asking the question was missing in the second paper. So though your calculation becomes the same, but what you are going through, the iterations or the processes that you are going through, that were different. So here the practice was very much necessary, as at least you must have seen such questions before going to the examination. So that was very much required in this particular area. Then geometry questions have started coming in, especially mensuration question. One mensuration question we could see, especially with respect to mass and volume. And second thing, we have seen a question on the intersection of a rectangle and a circle. And also we have seen a question which has the conversion from volume to mass. So these were the mensuration questions. In the last 10 years, we have not seen mensuration questions. So now they have started coming up and we need to look into the mensuration aspect also. Then other things, yes, definitely it was time consuming. Though you are good at aptitude, out of 44 questions that had come in aptitude, a very good student might have solved only 30 to 35 questions in aptitude because they were time consuming. So these are the surprises that we have seen in the paper. And the common mistakes that the students do in this paper is, first thing is the ignorance. They ignore this paper because they feel that this paper is unimportant. But this is the second paper of preliminary examination. So you have to give equal importance to this paper as you are giving to the first paper. So this is called as paper 2. It is not some supplementary paper. It is paper 2 of the examination. You have to give due respect to this paper. Then the negligence or gambling with the paper. Gambling with the paper means, yes, irrespective of how good you are in concepts of quantitative aptitude, reasoning and reading comprehension, you will not practice. You will just go gamble on that day. And 99% of the preference or 99% priority is given to the first paper. Only 1% priority is given to the second paper. So that is completely a wrong approach. At least there has to be 80-20 approach. On daily basis, one has to practice at least 5 to 6 questions in aptitude. So we should not gamble with this paper. Then other things, lack of practice. Though we are very good at maths, but without practice, if you go to the examination hall, you will face the music. So even for a person who is very good at maths or Olympiad, whatever he or she is, that person has to practice the concepts. Then the over dependence on RC. So this is the diagnosis of many people. More than 70% of the people, they depend upon RC. They think that their English is good. Though their English is good, here the hit rate or the success ratio in this particular area is not more than 70%. Let's say there are 30 questions and the maximum hit rate is 70%. That means 21 will get correct and 9 will go wrong. But effectively, you will get 45 marks, but they are not enough to clear this paper. You have to solve some of the reasoning questions and quantitative aptitude question. So don't depend upon RC every time, because it is going to be detrimental for you in the second paper. You have to treat all the sections alike, and you have to give equal importance to all the sections, and you have to solve easier questions from all the sections. Then the formula based learning, it is not helping anymore, because every question in aptitude is unique question. Is a unique question in the sense, though that question is picked up from particular chapter, but the way of solving it, that doesn't necessarily depend upon the formula that we practice. So it has unique approach, and we have to treat that question or that problem as our problem, and we have to properly visualize the problem, and we have to get connected to that problem properly. Then we have to solve. So formula based learning, that will not help anymore in this examination. And what all are the learnings that we have got from civil services prelims paper 2, that is CSAT paper in this year, is there is a proportionate weightage to the paper. Proportionate weightage to the paper, that is like we have to treat this paper as second paper of the preliminary examination, and we have to study properly. At least half an hour practice in the aptitude will take us through, or will make us to clear the second paper. Then brushing up the concepts, especially the number system concept, basic operations, squares, cubes, averages, percentages, all these things, especially surds and the operation in fractions and decimals, we have to brush them up very well, especially cancellation method, cross multiplication method, all that thing we need to practice, because without practice it is going to be very tough in the examination hall. Then practicing on daily basis, as I told, at least half an hour practice, 5 to 6 questions on daily basis, that will definitely take you a long way. Then equal importance to all the sections of the paper. Don't just depend upon RC. In that case, even don't just depend upon quantitative aptitude also. You have to treat all the sections alike, and you have to solve easier questions. In our strategy video, especially like how many questions to attend in the prelims, in that video we have told that you have to pick up 10 easier questions from each section. So that will make up 30 questions. Then in the second round, you have to take moderate level questions from each section, 5 from each section. So that will make up around 15. So totally 45 questions. Another 5 to 6 questions you have to attend. So totally you should be attending at least 50 questions in CSAT paper. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to cross the line of that 66 marks. Then solving at least 50 questions, as I told now, you have to solve at least 50 questions. And other thing than all these things, that is this examination at all 3 levels, that is preliminary, mains and interview level, all these are tests of your personality. How you are going to take everything together, and how you are going to balance, and what is your personality, what is your leverage, and how well you are in your aptitude and the attitude as well, or with respect to emotional intelligence. So how well balanced you are, that is checked in all these papers, especially the CSAT paper. It is not just the paper, or not just the question of your mathematical skills or your English skills. It is also the skill of your life, because the problem solving ability, it is not just associated with the numbers anymore. It is associated with the personality altogether. So my wisest advice would be, don't neglect this paper, give importance to this paper and practice on daily basis and get through this paper. So hope you will not commit this mistake again, and you will never look back into such things, and you will sail through throughout the journey of this civil services examination preparation until you get your service of your choice and career of your choice. Thank you very much.